I did something amazing. We survived 100 days in hardcore Minecraft, but as an Enderman. In these 100 days, we're going to be exploring the world, exploring the mod, and I'll be narrating the whole journey for you guys. Stay tuned to find out what happened in my crazy adventure. This is 100 days in hardcore Minecraft as an Enderman. It was my first day, and I was an Enderman. My first feeling upon logging into the server was very strange. I woke up as a 3-block tall Enderman that could teleport to wherever I looked. But I was gonna have to get used to it either way. Right from the start, my basic instinct was to break down a few trees, get enough logs to make my first wooden pickaxe. Right after making my first wooden pickaxe, I went on my way to find some cobblestone to make better tools, but I realized that there was no cobblestone in the end. So I had to come up with a different idea to get cobblestone. My idea was just testing all the wooden minerals to see if any works the way that cobblestone does. And eventually I found a mineral called flavolite, and lucky enough I could upgrade my wooden pickaxe to a stone pickaxe. Being an Enderman also comes with a few downsides. I quickly discovered one of those downsides after a few pieces of logs that fell in water when I was cutting down a tree. As soon as I made contact with the water, I immediately started taking damage, and so I noted that water is highly poisonous. After all, my first day as an Enderman being 3 feet tall and poisonous to water, the first day has been pretty relaxed and chill. The only thing I did was getting my first tools and finding out that the perks and downsides of being an Enderman. Because of my unfortunate spawn and nothing interesting nearby, like an end city, I spent most of my second day exploring the map, in the search of anything interesting and preferably an end city. Whilst running around, I noticed that my food was going down and I ran out of food. So I also had to find a way to get food, which was tricky because there were no edible mobs in the end. Luckily, I found a biome that contained a rare tropical fruit called the chorus fruit, and when I ate one of the fruits, I got very scared because it randomly teleported me somewhere random close to me. After looking for things to explore for a long time, I finally found the first proper living organism except the other Endermans, and I tried finding out what they were doing and explore the situation. The organisms were very big, purple, slimy things that could jump really high and split in two or more after killing them, which made it very hard to kill them considering they did quite a bit of damage. Because of the damage they were doing, I decided to kill them all because I didn't want to die myself. Upon killing them, I discovered that they dropped green slime balls, but I had no idea what to use them for. After finding the first proper living organisms, I thought I'd leave the day as it is and went to sleep. The next morning, I quickly got to exploring again, and soon enough, I stumbled across an Ender-themed portal, and that looked very intriguing, so I thought I'd explore it. The portal itself looked quite useless, but I was very happy to notice the massive end city behind it, and so I considered the first part of my journey completed, finding an end city. Because I was 3 blocks tall, I couldn't fit in the small spaces inside the city. This probably meant the inhabitants of the city were smaller organisms, so they couldn't have been Endermans. Whilst searching for the treasures, I suddenly got attacked by these purple boxes that spin open when you get close to them. Because of this danger, I thought it would be nice if I hurried my way up to the tower and claimed the loot as swiftly as I could. Upon reaching the highest part of the tower, one of his see-through balls at me and I started levitating into the air, and when it ran out I fell all the way down, but to my surprise I was fast enough to save myself with the chorus fruit and randomly teleport on the top of the tower and survive the fall. It's a quite unique defense mechanism. The only downside is that there is no way that you can reason with them, because as soon as you get close to them, they start shooting see-through balls at you and make you levitate into the air, which could lead you to your death. After exploring one of the massive towers in the city and my almost to death experience, I went to bed a little early. After waking up, I quickly went back to exploring the city in hope of finding treasures, and after searching for a while, I discovered a hidden room with these weird yellow stands that contain bottles with a special drink. I thought it'd come in handy later, so I brought them with me. Whilst looking around in the special drink room, I noticed that there was an entrance to a hidden room in the back, and I got excited because I thought that this would be good. And it was. In the room, I saw gray wings hang up on the wall and two chests filled with very good minerals. I was happy with what I found in the city. After discovering the loot in the hidden room, I came to the conclusion that I had discovered most of the hidden treasure in the city and decided to move on from it. By building a bridge towards the exit, I left with the need of more special loot, so my search for the end cities continued. On the search for more end cities, I unfortunately didn't come across anything special in the next few days. This really lowered my motivation for the journey. I did come across one thing, a shiny green mineral called Ender Shard, and it looked very special, but I had no idea what it was used for. So I just took it with me and hoped that I would eventually find out its purpose. The next day, I came across another special blue ore called thalcium ore. It looked very rare, but again, I had no idea what to use it for. I spent another few days of exploring in the hope of finding more end cities filled with loot. On my journey of finding end cities and hopefully inhabitants, I came across a crystal with all the colors of the rainbow. It looked amazing. I took some of it with me and tried to find the purpose of the crystal. Unfortunately, after trying multiple times to make things out of it, nothing worked, so I gave up. And so I continued my search for end cities. After exploring a few days, I saw organisms that I had never seen before fly in the air. The flying organisms called themselves dragonflies. Even though they looked peaceful, I killed one of them to see if their loot was worth anything special, but they didn't drop any loot. Unfortunately, I still had not found a way in the end city and I almost gave up on it. At the beginning of day 30, I found the most epic biome I'd ever seen. Magnificent, gigantic blue trees with plants on them in every shade of blue that I could ever think of, and the tree could light themselves up as well. I'd never seen such amazing trees. They reminded me of the world of Avatar. Whilst exploring the blue trees, I found this old abandoned tree house in one of the trees with loot that I knew I could use later, so I decided to take it with me because I did not see any inhabitants present. After flying around with the wings I had found from the first end city that I explored, I finally saw another one after looking for it for almost 20 days and almost giving up. This time, instead of seeing the purple boxes as enemies, I used them to my advantage and used their balls of levitation to climb up the tower. Whilst exploring the hidden wing chamber, I noticed that the loot in the chests wasn't as good as the other end city, so I realized that I still had to look for more cities. Because of the hunger that I had been going through, I decided it was time for me to look after my health and find food source. I came across this pond completely filled with fish and realized that this might be my only proper food source. I had to make my fishing rod first with strings and sticks before I could start fishing. After fishing for a very long time, I saw that I had caught hundreds of fish and that it would suffice for the time being. Because my food shortage has been solved, I continued my search for an end city. On my search for an end city, I saw something truly spectacular, an underwater volcano, and that looked like it would be calling to me. Because of the lack of loot in the volcano, I decided to move on and search for more end cities. I came across an abandoned wreck in the middle of nowhere, but unfortunately it did not have any loot. After another week of looking for an end city and almost giving up again, because my impatience, I had finally found one again, and I was of course very happy. Whilst exploring the wings room, I was finally lucky enough to discover some good loot in the chest and a good set of armor and weapons, and even though I was happy with the loot I had found, I began to wonder why they needed these armor sets. I was scanning the city for more information that might give me answers, and luckily I found a book on the desk that contained information about the origin of the dimension. It mentioned something about a dragon that needed to be slain before the inhabitants of the dimension could be free. And so my quest had begun, the killing of the Ender Dragon. Because of the good armor and weapons I'd found in the city, I wasn't afraid to face the Ender Dragon. I just had to figure out how to get there and where it was. And I just knew I was meant to face the Ender Dragon in the first place. On my way to face the Ender Dragon, I came across another end city and realized that I could use some more band-aids or anything related for the single reason of not instantly dying when hurt. In the wings room, I had found even better armor to face the Ender Dragon and decided it was time. No more detours. After leaving the final end city to face the Ender Dragon, I came across the final thing that I had to go through. A super dark biome with monsters called Shadow Walkers that sounded very scary. They were strong, but not strong enough to end my life, fortunately. After leaving the dark biome and the Shadow Walkers behind, I stumbled across stones with weird markings on it in the shape of a portal. I quickly realized that this was the way to something ancient and important, so I figured out it must be the Ender Dragon. I tried very hard finding a way to turn the portal on till I finally succeeded with the help of fire. I lit the portal and jumped through it, ready to face the Ender Dragon. When I came out of the portal, I immediately saw the massive dragon flying around, yet I couldn't quite face the dragon one-on-one, because I'd spawned on a small black platform, needing to build a bridge, and so I did. I knew it wasn't safe, so I quickly built a bridge to the main land. It looked very dangerous. There were many towers as far as I could count, about 12, with these spinning white and purple crystals on the top of it that looked important to the dragon because it was constantly spinning around it. I had to destroy all the crystals before I could finish the dragon off once and for all. I knew this was going to be the hardest thing I had ever done in these 100 days, and so I faced it bravely. And so I went on my way to build up to every tower and destroy all the crystals one by one. After destroying the crystals and seeing the dragon lose his mind, I decided it was time to face it with my swords once more. After slashing it a few times, I noticed his wounds did not heal anymore, and I finally had the chance to finish it. And so I did. After a very long and intense fight, I delivered the final blow, and the Ender Dragon exploded. And the portal to the normal world had opened again. I was free, and so I survived 100 days as an Enderman. If you want to see more, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment what you want to see next. Make sure to also share the video with your friends, as you guys can discuss what happened in the video and all the cool things that had actually happened to me on this journey. I'm going to be ending the video off right here. This is 100 days in hardcore Minecraft as an Enderman.